Hello, I'm Tim Beggins, president of Elk Trading Company. And today, the natural gas weekly recap. Natural gas prices are looking to finish the week strong, up to 393.70 currently, up 23.6 cents or 6.32%. It's the cold Arctic air that's coming through and looks to continue at least for the next 2 to possibly 3 weeks. That is driving the February futures higher. We are still trading January cash prices, but the February futures contract is looking to see if cold weather will continue into the next month. Let's take a look at what was going on this week. For the weekly natural gas storage report, the report ended up at minus 40 BCF. Very anemic for this time of year. But as you can see, the East and Midwest, where the colder air has been, is now below last year's and the 5-year average levels in storage. The Mountain and Pacific are still in the surplus, and the South Central, which is where Texas and Louisiana are located, is still sitting slightly positive both a year ago and against the 5-year average. This report was weighing down on the February futures, but now that it's passed, we'll look to see storage reports that are well in excess of 200 BCF plus for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Let's take a look at the February spot natural gas contract, currently trading 394.20, up 24.1 cents. We'll look to see if the next daily pivot is at 397.20 and above that 411.5, with the weekly spike at 420 as our third resistance level. Our support levels on the pivots 369.40 and 355.90. Let's take a look at the March contract and the pivot system on the hourly chart. As you can see, once prices move above the daily pivot, they tend to act as support for the next round, potentially higher. We need to see a confirmation on the RSI or relative strength index. But once we see a good strong bar like this one, then you can see that prices now move to the next pivot level, in this case, 335.5. With prices now pushing even above that, our next pivot resistance at 347.60 is now in play for next week. So let's take a look at the weather. The cold Arctic air continues to build in eastern Siberia and create a highway across the Arctic and into Canada and down into the US. This will continue at least for the next 2 to possibly 3 weeks, keeping natural gas firmly supported on expected heavy storage withdrawals. Let's take a look at the US in particular. In this case, colder weather is now descended between Chicago, Boston, and Atlanta. This is your highest population density natural gas demand area in the country, and this area will continue to receive repetitive bouts of cold Arctic air as we move further and further across the forecast for the next 2 and possibly 3 weeks. Let's take a look at the Arctic air ice chart. In this case, ice continues to close the northern approaches to Hudson Bay, and now ice is forming on the eastern shores. Once the Hudson Bay is completely covered in ice, this cold Arctic air now can literally skate across that body of water and directly descend down into New York, Boston area. The snow cover. Snow now is on the ground across northern Oklahoma all the way through to Virginia. This will keep temperatures cooler for longer. Turning to Europe. Europe does receive some colder weather going forward into next week around Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but most of the cold air still continues to remain locked into Russia and parts of Scandinavia and eastern Turkey. Let's take a look at Asia. Here, temperatures are still cold in Inner Mongolia and parts of Russia, but for the most part, China remains at normal temperatures for this time of year. In fact, Chinese LNG buyers are now offloading cargoes into the spot global market because their winter has started out to be relatively mild. And this continues to look to be the case except for potentially Wednesday and Thursday of next week, where we start to see some cooler temperatures along the eastern provinces. Let's take a look at the stock winners for this week. In the E&P sector, Texas Pacific Land is still doing very well, up almost 11% for the week, with other names like Comstock Resources up 6.9%, and some of the larger ones like Devon up 9.45%. This is generally a very positive week for this particular sector. Let's take a look at the midstream section. Target Resources is up 5.69%, and others such as Cheniere and Cheniere Energy Partners are doing a little bit positive, but still just kind of mediocre for the sector. It's been kind of a flat week. Again, let's take a look at summarizing what's going on for natural gas prices right now. Natural gas is trading 393.80, up 23.7 cents, looking to close out the week very strongly. Let us know your thoughts. Please hit that like and subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.